You think your screen time is killing your focus? Well, I used to blame mine too, until I realized that this isn't the only problem. Today, we're not just talking about your phone use. We're gonna dive deeper into what's actually hijacking your attention and how you can finally take it back by using the framework that I personally use, the R3 method. First, let's talk about the real distraction. What is actually making you lose focus? Because screen time is just a symptom. It's not the only cause. Enter mental fragmentation. You're probably like, Romina, what the heck are you talking about? I'm not a psychologist. Small habits plus interruptions equals mental fragmentation. So what I mean by small habits is the little things that you do throughout the day, like checking your email when you're already in the middle of doing something else, or picking up your phone just because it buzzed. These are all of the things that add up to your mental fragmentation. Mental fragmentation specifically happens when you have a little bit of context switching, which is when you are bouncing between different types of tasks and dopamine loops, when you get that reward, that buzz. When you are switching between different types of tasks, for example, you're checking your phone, you're responding to an email, maybe you're watching a TV show at the same time. And when you're switching between all of those different tasks, your brain is readjusting, and so your brain energy actually drops. At the same time, you are also receiving these little hits of dopamine, and that causes you to have that kind of like feel-good buzz, and that is what draws you. That is what pulls you back in.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
We already know this. Tech, social media, the internet, all of these things are now designed to keep us addicted. They are asking, they are begging, they are controlling and manipulating us, and they want our attention. And we already know this. All of your boundaries, your systems, and your inputs are the things that are shaping your habit, the reason that you keep getting sucked into this loop. Boundaries are things that you can set up, like schedule do not disturb hours, letting people know that you only check emails once a week. Your systems are your daily routines, like if you're doing scheduling like time blocking, and inputs are the things that you are bringing into your life. So like having the social media apps and checking social media apps during working hours. I'm sure all of you have heard this before. The average person touches their phone 2,500 bajillion times per day. I don't even think that this is a stat that can be measured at this point in our society. But here we go. I love technology. I'm a huge nerd and I'm a geek. I love science fiction. So the idea of living science fiction in my reality, it's not fiction anymore, is really, really cool to me. But when smartphones first started coming out and handheld devices, we had like the Blackberries and the Palm Pilots and all of that stuff. It was really cool, but also there weren't that many people who were connected to the internet yet at that time. And so it wasn't like a portal into all of these distractions. There weren't that many companies who were begging for your attention yet. This wasn't something that I had to deal with, but I had to go through this not having a lot of that to having a lot of that. So I wasn't really born into it, because in my generation, like I grew up where we didn't have mobile phones. We didn't have things like that. And like barely any of my friends, like they had a computer and it was like in the living room, you know, like everybody had, it was everybody's computer. So the idea of like having the entire world in the palm of your hand was kind of something that was super overwhelming for me. I love information, I love learning, and I love seeing the world, and I also love connecting with people. I like to network with people, and I like to see what my friends are up to and learn about new events. I just want to be connected. Fast forward, it did become overwhelming because it was sucking the focus out of my daily life. I published a book, and then I was published a number of times, all before I was 18 years old. I was incredibly focused on creating. I was making videos, and this was pre-YouTube. So I was making videos that nobody was gonna see. I was writing things that I didn't really know that anybody was going to see yet because I wasn't planning on publishing, but somehow that happened. But I was writing and I was doing everything for myself, and I had tremendous focus. And sometimes I look back and I'm like, wow, how did you do that, Romina? I've had to come up with my own systems and my own frameworks in order to deal with this, in order to create that balance of wanting to use technology because I think it's cool and it's useful and it's valuable, but then also using it because it's fun and it's entertaining, and I do want to get entertained. So I've had to develop my own frameworks, my own systems in order to make it work, in order to have this life where I can be connected, I can have gadgets, and I can also focus, and I can create, and I can work on the projects that I really want to work on, and I can express myself creatively. You don't always need a detox. You don't have to quit society, you don't have to shave your head, and you don't have to move to a mountain somewhere in order to achieve this kind of balance. But something that you do need is a system. You always need a system, whether that is small, subtle, or obvious. A system is something that is going to help you to develop the habits that you need in order to stay focused and enter into that flow, into that creation, into that founder flow. Think about it like this. Every time that you click on an app or visit a website or do the thing that is distracting you and pulling away from the thing that you want to be focused on, you are entering a loop. And this loop is the cue, routine, and reward loop. The cues are the things that are your triggers, right? The things that are making you do the thing. Like, for example, you pick up your phone because you're avoiding anxiety. Like, you don't want to talk to the other person that's in the elevator. You are checking your email because you're stressed out and you think that you're going to miss out on an opportunity, right? And that is your routine. Your routine is like, okay, you go to your phone. When you're anxious, you go to your phone. When you're stressed, you go to your email, right? And then you get the reward because you check your phone and you see, oh, this person liked my post, or this person sent me a text message, or like, here's a really funny video of a cute little puppy, like whatever, right? That's your reward. So you're happy. And then you just do that routine over and over and over again, right? So how do we fix this? Well, basically you just have to stop. You need to pause this loop. Romina, how do I do this? If it was so simple, I wouldn't be watching your long freaking video here on YouTube, right? Here's the thing. You can set up any productivity hack that you want. You can download as many tools as you want to try to block your phone and all this stuff and try to hack your way through this. All of these productivity hacks and tips and all of that stuff is going to fail if you don't interrupt the loop. This is the key. That was a sound effect for magical key. Here's the thing. You could have tools. You could have willpower. You could think that you're Superman. But guess what? Even Superman has a weakness, right? He's got kryptonite. These things are not sustainable in the long run because you're not addressing the actual issue, which is the loop. It's the cue. It's the trigger. It's the thing that is causing you to start the loop every single time. So unless you interrupt the cue and you disrupt this pattern, then it's just going to happen again. It's just going to keep happening again. That's why it's called a loop, right? That's why it's called a loop. And this is why hitting on why matters more than what. Why? Why are you doing the thing? Why are you doing the thing that is pulling you away from your focus? What is the missing layer? What is the missing layer in all of this? An important element here is stillness. It's presence. It's being in the moment. I promise the R3 method is coming up, so hang tight. This is really important. So how do we do this? First, notice. Notice when the cue is happening. Realize when your trigger is coming up and you pause. Whenever you are about to touch your phone or go for your email, just take a sec, just freeze, right? You do a little and you freeze. Before you instantly go into like scrolling and doing the whole thing on TikTok and Instagram or whatever and get that dopamine hit, you choose. You make a choice, whether you're going to engage or not. This requires you to be very self-aware, which is where that presence and that stillness comes into play here. When you feel that urge, that's your loop that's trying to fire off. It's trying to get started again. When your hand starts to twitch, when your hands are moving and you're about to do something without even really thinking about it, stop. Stop. Catch the urge before the autopilot kicks in. This is going to take a lot of practice. Some of you might get it right off the bat. Some of you might be amazing. And in that case, then maybe you should start a YouTube channel. But if you are not going to start a YouTube channel, then you might as well subscribe to this one to see more videos like this. So when you catch that urge and stop the autopilot from kicking in, then you have that digital silence, which has no screens, no scrolling. You can check your values and you can really ask yourself, should I be doing this right now? Or should I chill for a moment? You have this moment where you can really decide what your next path is going to be. I have a little homework for you. I want you to identify one mindless loop that you do daily. Just figure it out. Maybe think about it for a couple of days if you want and come back to this video and leave me a comment. Let me know what that is. Romina, what is the solution? The setup is the solution. Your why environment is always going to be more powerful than your willpower. The environment that you set up is so crucial towards solving this distraction problem, towards targeting the thing that is hijacking your attention. Look, I like to think that I am a very strong person and that if something is not good for me, that I have the power to say no. Well, sometimes willpower can be really tough. Let's be honest. It can be hard to do and to conquer. Yes, I think that it is possible to have very strong willpower and to be able to just say no. But I also think that there's a lot of other factors that can contribute. And so it's important to take those into consideration as well to be able to set you up for success, right? So we cannot only rely on willpower, on setting up these time limits on our phone, because that is not the only thing that is causing you to be distracted. Even the best intentions in the world will fail when your device or your workspace are screaming distraction at you constantly. So you need to optimize your setup to reduce that exclusive reliance on motivation, to give you the best advantage. Some very simple systems that you can set up for yourself so that you can reclaim your focus. Very, very simple stuff is just keeping your area clean, keeping your computer, your desk, your office clean and tidy, having organization systems set up, because a clean desk or workspace equals clear thinking. When you have clutter, when you have a visual disarray and everything is messy, this gives you decision fatigue because you don't know where to put your attention. You want to focus on everything at the same time because it's all around you. So eventually this leads to brain fog. You're tired, your energy is low because you are giving yourself decision fatigue. Your attention is completely scattered, physically it is scattered. So the first step that you need to do is to clean up your area. Now I can introduce you to the 3-step sequence I use anytime that I find myself spiraling out of control and jumping headfirst into this loop of distraction. And I do this system without using any apps or relying on apps or screen time and screen time usage and all of that. The R3 method relies on setting boundaries, clearing distractions, and building habits in order to get our focus back. The first step of the R3 method is to rewind. This requires you to change your environment. I mean, physically, step away from the thing, physically exit the loop, okay? You're exiting, you're away from the loop, okay? You are creating space between you and the trigger, the thing. This is the easiest thing that you can do, because you are physically leaving the chaos. By exiting, you are telling your nervous system that you are not stuck here. So whenever I find myself like entering this loop, right, where I'm just on the beanbag and then I'm looking at my phone and then I just realize that, it's been like 10 minutes and I'm just like, I'm looking for distractions at this point. What I do is I turn off the phone and I put it as far away from me as possible, and I go to another room. Or I step outside. I put physical distance between myself and the phone, right? Because in this instance, like I'm just like scrolling through YouTube. I'm looking for stuff at this point, right? I physically exited the problem, because this way I can step back before I snap back. Wow, okay, that was pretty good. No, but for real, right? Because I've realized that I'm in the loop, right? And the trigger, the cue here is like, for whatever reason, I don't want to clean. I don't want to work on this project. I don't want to write the script. I don't want to work on my poetry book. Like I don't want to draw for my kids' book. Like I don't want to do the thing, right? I don't want to do something. So I'm looking for other things to do. And in this case, it's scrolling, doom scrolling. The first step is rewind. Just step away. Distance. The second R in the R3 method is to reset. You are going to be walking into clarity. So in this moment in time, you are going to be redirecting. This is the time to reflect, okay? Why am I doing this? Is this something that I really want to be doing right now? Am I doing it because I enjoy it, or because I am avoiding doing something that I should be doing or want to be doing instead? It gives you the room to process. It gives you that time that you need, that quiet moment for your brain to really reflect and think about what it is that you are doing and why. This reflection period can consist of 3 different strategies, which is the verbal, internal, and the physical. So the verbal is talking it out with somebody. For instance, I'll talk to my husband about how I'm feeling or what I'm doing, or the things that I want to be avoiding. I let it out. Talking it out with him helps me to see what it is that I am missing, because sometimes when I talk out loud, I'm able to hear myself and I'm able to put these pieces that I otherwise wouldn't have seen if I just sat there and thought by myself. And this leads me into the internal strategy, which is just thinking. It's just reflecting. It's going out on a walk and thinking and kind of having this conversation with myself in my head, having this dialogue, asking myself these questions like, why am I doing the things that I'm doing? It could also just be like meditating. It could be just sitting or breathing, like focusing on my breath, just being still and being present and allowing myself to be where I am. This is more inward. This is looking inside. And this is a different strategy from like talking, because this allows me to have a very personal conversation. This is very private, right? And like nobody knows what's going on in my head. And so I'm able to have this very personal, intimate, this vulnerable conversation, because the only person that's going to be there to judge me is myself, right? And so I can set up those boundaries for myself. And then the last strategy is physical, which can be anything from like mind dumping. You could draw, you could shift into something that causes you to go into a flow state. So if you love to crochet or bake or whatever, then you do the thing that is going to cause you to go into like this flow state, kind of like, if you're journaling, if you're drawing, doodling, illustrating, whatever. Just allow yourself to create like a physical manifestation of your reflections. Like what is like something tangible that you can show, like, okay, I had all this like pent up energy and all these thoughts and all these things that were causing me to go into that habit loop. But now it's manifested into this piece, into this drawing, muffins, whatever, right? So this way you can create meaning from the noise, right? So by following all these strategies and kind of letting yourself reset, you are able to bring meaning to the noise, which is very important for step number 3, which is, of course, to refocus. And that is when you get back to your anchor point. So what do I mean by that? Your anchor point is one clear task that you are going to choose. And when you pick this, you are going to re-enter into the world with a clear intention. So you've stepped back, you've reflected, and now you're going to dive in. But when you dive in, you're going to have a clear task to start with. The truth is that sometimes you just can't force focus. Sometimes you lock yourself up in a room with nothing and you just cannot focus. The reason is because your mind is not clear. You still have things in your mind that you need to reflect on and that you need to figure out, and you have to have these conversations with yourself or with your significant other or whatever, friend, whatever you want to do. The point is that you need to have a clear mind. In order to have a clear mind, you need to follow the R3 method. You need to do that in that order, because that is going to help you to get to this point, which is the refocus. And that's what we want. This is our ultimate goal, to be able to shift from reactive to intentional. Before, we were caught in this loop where we were just reacting to the things that were being fed to us, where we were just reacting because we've created a habit, right? Again, we go back into the elevator. We have a habit of just grabbing our phone when we're standing next to a person because we're anxious or shy or whatever. And so the first thing, I'm going to grab my phone because then that way I don't have to talk to this person and I can avoid the thing that I should probably be doing to grow as a person. But anyway, I'm not judging. We're not judging here. This channel is all about growth, and it is all about reaching your potential. When you do this refocus step, you are telling yourself, this is what we're doing now. We're not scrolling. We're not doing this thing. We are doing this. This is what we are doing. When you pick the one thing that you're doing, you're creating a portal to come back to. This is your portal, right? This is your anchor point. So the R3 method is about stepping away to break from the chaos and giving your mind space to reset, and then returning with one clear focus so that you can move forward with intention. This is what I do whenever I find myself going into that habit loop or finding that I'm going to be doom scrolling for the next 30 minutes. I do the R3 method, which is about stepping away from that chaos, okay? Physically stepping, breaking away from the chaos, giving your mind the space that it needs in order to reflect and reset, and then returning with one clear focus so that you can move forward with intention. And if you are actually serious about rebuilding your focus without deleting apps or like creating screen time limits and all this stuff, then this is how I can help. I developed the Stillness Suite, which is my personal toolkit. This is what I do every single day, okay, for rebuilding attention from the inside out. So in the Stillness Suite, we have hours and hours of content that includes rituals that you can do, reset guides. We have templates that can help you day to day. We have detoxes. We have meditation guides. We have all sorts of things in there. And most importantly, we have a community of like-minded people who are also trying to do the same thing. So, and there's always stuff that's being added to the stillness guide as well. So what you see is not what you get. What you see is only the beginning. And I am super duper excited to be sharing all of these things with all of you because I've gone through burnout. I've been distracted. I overthink. I'm a creative person, okay? So I know what that's like. And these are systems that I've created for myself in order to help me deal with all of these things. So I'm very excited that I'm able to share it with you and that we are able to work through these things together. So if you're interested in all of that, then the links are going to be in the description. And then also I'll put it somewhere in the comments probably. Sometimes just relying on willpower is not it's not going to set you up for success. It's not going to give you the success that you want. So in order to find that success, you need a better system. Just remember that screen time doesn't have to be your villain. Well, it's not the only villain, okay? Fragmentation is letting your mind go all over the place, feeding into that habit. Because it's not just about the amount of screen time. It's your broken attention. It's you letting your attention just go all over the place, wherever it wants, without a leash, right? So the constant task switching, the distractions, the pings, and we're stopping. We're stopping all of this today, here today. And if you need to rewatch this video, please do it. Take notes, because that's what we're here for. And before you head out, I want to ask you, what is your real distraction right now in your life? What is it? Let me know in the comments down below. But before you do that, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you see more videos from me, and maybe try to just chill for a little bit. Like, relax. Now you watch this video, relax. Do that little reset portion. Think about what you just watched. If you made it all the way to the end, you are super cool. All right, I will see you when I see you.